Hello, so welcome to the final week of the 50 stitches crochet along, and this week we're adding a border. So we're adding this border onto the outside of our squares. It's 3 rows, so it starts with this pink row here, then we have this middle row, and then this beautiful spiral outer row. So how do we make it? Okay, so for the first round of the border I'm going to be using a 3.5mm hook, and we're going to join into these single crochets in the middle here. So on our border we've got the chains, the 2 single crochet and the chain. We're going to join into this first single crochet with a standing single crochet. So I'm going to create my standing stitch and join into that single crochet with that single crochet, and then single crochet in the next stitch as well. When we get to the chain, you're going to make a single crochet around the chain, okay, and underneath that we've got the single crochet border, and there should be 3 stitches in here. So we're going to go into the second of those 3 stitches. I'm going to pull up a loop and make a spike stitch. So you want to pull it up as high as the single crochet around the chain, and then just complete the stitch and go back into the chain space and single crochet. Okay, and that is the pattern around the border. So it's single crochet in each of those single crochets, around the chain space, chain 1, then go into the middle stitch of the 3 skip stitches to make a spike stitch. Okay, so single crochet, spike stitch, and then another single crochet around the chain space, and you repeat that pattern across the row. So when you get to the space between squares, you're going to make a single crochet in the first 2 single crochet, okay, and then we're going to go over to the other square. Okay, so you leave that 3rd single crochet alone. Okay, so the other square we have the 3 single crochet at the corner, go into that middle one, and you're going to slip stitch, and this just pulls your squares together. Then in the same stitch make another single crochet. Okay, and then single crochet in the next stitch as well. So when we do the next row, that slip stitch doesn't count at all. Okay, you're only going to go into your single crochets and the spike stitch. Okay, and then we carry on the pattern. Around the chain, single crochet, in that middle single crochet, below your chain, oops, you're going to spike stitch, and then around the chain again, single crochet, and then single crochet into both the single crochet of the board, interlocking border. Okay, and this puts a nice smooth edge on all those loops. So I'm just going to carry on down the square until I get to the corner, and then I'll show you what we do there. Okay, so I've got to the corner. I've done the single crochet, spike stitch, single crochet in the last chain, and I've done a single crochet in the first corner stitch. So in the second corner stitch I'm going to make another single crochet. Oops, I've made this one rather tight. But in that stitch I'm going to make 3. So we're going to sharpen the corners off. 2 and 3 into that middle one. Then in the next single crochet and make 1 single crochet, and that is the corner. So your 3 corner stitches, you make a single crochet in the first one, in the second one 3 single crochet, and then single crochet in the third. So you'll have 5 stitches going around that corner. and then once you turn, you just carry on the same way. Okay, so I've got my panel and I've turned it upside down, and you also want to turn your blanket upside down, so you want the back of both facing you. And all we're going to do to attach them is use, oops, that's upside down, wrong way around. There we go. Put the blue down there. And all we're going to do to attach them is use the whip stitch. So I've got a good length of yarn, and we're just going to go stitch for stitch. So we're going to start in this corner stitch. This is where you've done 3 single crochet, and in the middle stitch of those 3 we're just going to join in, but not like that. You're going to join in the back loop only. I'll just put it through both. Very silly. Right. So we're going to whip stitch in the back loop only of the border, but I'm going to whip stitch into the foundation chain of the panel. And it is just stitch for stitch. So in the very first stitch of the panel, needle through there, and then we go back down. So we're going down, up, down, up. So down through the next stitch of the panel, and through the back loop only of blanket. And pull both ends tight. You need to make sure you pull this tight as you go, otherwise it's going to get too cumbersome to do at the end. It's just too long. So make sure you pull tight as you go. So I recommend doing this on a flat surface, otherwise you might not be able to pull as tight as you need. And you should have the same number of stitches in your panel as you do your blanket with the border on. So that should be 226 stitches. So it's stitch for stitch, attach through. Okay, so I've got a couple of stitches in there, but when you pull tight, you're not going to see that join. Okay, so I've only done a couple of stitches, but you can't see the blue on the front of that pink at the border. Okay, so that's going to join it nice and tight without that thread showing. And you just carry on like that all the way down the panel. Just stitch for stitch, up and down, until it's all sewn on. So once your panel's on, we can then do the next row of the border. Okay, so now we're going to join our second round of the border. I'm going to do that by starting with a standing half double crochet. So we're sticking with the 3.5mm hook, and you can join in any stitch of the first round of the border. Oops, put yarn over first. There we go. So it doesn't matter which stitch you join into as long as it's in that first round of our border. And all we're going to do is just half double crochet in every single stitch. That's it. You will be going round the panel with this stitch as well. Okay, so when you get to that, you just carry on. So you should go from the corner with round 1, which is coming up to now. Okay, so I'm in the first, where am I? 1, 2, 3. Yep, so that's the first stitch of the corner now. And then I'm going to go into the next stitch as well, the middle one. Now if you're going up to your panel, from this stitch you just carry on stitching into the side, first stitch of the side of your panel, and just carry on up. If you're onto one of the bottom corners, then in this middle stitch of that set of 3 you're going to make 3 half double crochet. 1, 2 and 3. So you would do this set of 3 on the bottom corners and at the top of your panel as well, once you're turning in the corner of your panel. But otherwise you're just going to half double crochet in every single stitch, and that is all there is to this round of the border. So carry on that all the way round, and once you get back to the beginning you're going to slip stitch into your first half double crochet, and then we can start round 3, which is the really pretty swirling candy cane type border. Okay, so the next part of the border, I love this border, I think it's absolutely stunning. So we're going to be doing it in 3 colours. So you can join it into any stitch of that second row. Oops, no. Join with a standing single crochet. Okay. So this can get a bit fiddly because your balls of yarn can get tangled. So every now and again you're going to have to stop and detangle. Okay, so join with a standing single crochet and chain 5. 3, 4, 5. Now I'm going to pull up a loop and drop it, and then I'm going to bring in my second colour, and I'm going to join that with a standing single crochet in the next stitch. Into there, and again I'm going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull up a loop and drop it. Then I'm going to bring out my third colour. You can do this border with 2 colours. You can join as many or as few as you like, it just depends on how much you're willing to get your balls of yarn untangled. But I'm going to do it with 3. So in 2 colours, this is called the candy cane edging. Because if you do it in red and white it looks like a candy cane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and pull up a loop and drop. Okay, I've now got all 3 colours attached. So I'm going to go back to my first one, get the loop back on my hook, and I'm going to bring it in front of the others, go into the next stitch along, chain 1, then chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this looks absolutely brilliant when it's done. Takes a little bit of organisation, but it is essentially just chain 5 and single crochet in the next stitch. It's just like you're switching between different yarns. Oops. Single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, pull up a loop and drop. So you can see it's starting to wind around each other. So back to the third colour, put it tight, move those 2 out of the way, into the next stitch, single crochet and chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and pull up a loop. You see how they're twining around each other? It really does look stunning when it's all done. And you just carry on like that around your entire blanket. Just make sure you work in front of the yarns that you've dropped. You don't need to do anything special for the corners, you just carry on round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and pull up a loop and drop. Go back to the next colour, and then you just carry on this all the way around. Every now and again you've got to stop and do a bit of a detangle because your yarns will bind around each other. 3, 4, 5. But other than that, that is all there is to it. And how pretty does that look? On both sides. And it's just loops of yarn all spinning around each other. And that goes all the way around your blanket until we get to the end. And that is the border. And once those 3 rows are on and your ends are weaved in, that is the entire cowl done. So what does the entire blanket look like together?